Cocoon Spawn Girls, Chapter 20. Morning comes once again, calling me to roll over from my covers and slide feet first off the bed. I wipe the sleepiness from my eyes as I take a seat at my vanity. Last night I put some curlers in my hair. I wanted to see if I could make my hair have a little bit of something instead of just being flat. I found the curlers in Marzia's room and thought, hey, girlfriends let girls borrow stuff. Or at least they do on TV. I removed the curlers, and I'm disappointed to see not much of a difference. A little more wave, but for now, I'm still slick and straight-haired Sophia. Maybe they just need more than a night's worth of use? Shrug. I might ask Tiki about it. She would be the one to know if anyone does. I fix a little bit of bedhead on top of my head, then I just do a slight base of foundation and eyeliner. Nothing crazy. Once I'm feeling presentable, I change out of my pajamas and into a jumper skirt. I really should have done this in the opposite order. Now there's a smudge of foundation on my white blouse at the neckline. How annoying. I take my morning pill from the pill bottle. I leave the secret stash alone in case I ever truly do need it. I exit my room and confirm there's no note attached to my door, canceling the morning meeting. Now confident that this is happening, I make my way down in the hall and enter into the elevator headed down to the meeting room. When I get there, I only see Gretchen standing in the corner smoking, and Tiki seated in a chair looking over at me as I enter. I wave my greeting. She smiles and tells me good morning. It feels like barely anyone is here, and yet the only one missing for today's meeting is Clarice in reality. I give Marcia a thought, hoping wherever she is, she's doing all right. The sound of the elevator alerts us Clarice must be arriving. I take my seat and await her arrival so that we can begin the meeting. Tiki and I exchange a glance as we're both taken aback by what sounds like heels clicking against the floor as someone walks. Who is that? It isn't Clarice. Both of us are staring at the hallway, waiting to see who has arrived. The clicking gets closer and closer until a black-haired girl enters into the room. I almost guessed that it must be a replacement for Marcia before I noticed a green puppet on her right hand. Somehow, despite what my eyes were telling me, this was Clarice. The clicking was indeed the sound of small heels, or rather, ankle boots. Clarice had cut her hair, and based on how it looked, I would have to imagine she did it herself. It was messy. Uneven for sure. Her eyes were still somewhat covered. The cut seemed very uneven, as they curved inward, with the longest, thickest bits between her eyes and getting less dense as you moved outward. Her lips had bright red lipstick. It was smudged, severely, like she'd wiped her mouth with her arm and just not noticed what she'd done. This was the first time I'd seen her not in something baggy like a hoodie. She was actually wearing some sort of crop top that was slightly too big, so it hung off her shoulder. She was wearing tight jeans shorts as well. It was almost frightening. "Clarice?" Tiki cried, letting her own surprise slip out. "I know, right?" King said in a cheerful tone. "She's smoking, right? Fine little thing now." "King!" Tiki shrieked, upset at King's adjectives to describe Clarice. How do I look?" Clarice asked in a shy tone. With her hair shortened, you could really see how bright her blushing was. I held up "You look beautiful!" This seemed to make Clarice's messy lipstick less visible as her whole face turned uneven brighter red. "How about this lovely hair, huh?" King egged on. "Who says a puppet with no fingers can't use scissors?" "I do!" Tiki cried. "Please, Clarice, come to me next time. I would adore cutting your hair for you. Don't let King butcher it again like this." "So, you don't like it?" Clarice looked down as her color returned to normal. No. Of course I like it," Tiki backpedaled. "It's just, I think, no, I know I can do better than King. We could really find a good hairstyle for you, and even maybe help you out and learn how to apply makeup properly." "Oh," Clarice nodded, while sounding disappointed. King pet her on the head. "Don't listen to her. She's just jealous I got to do it and not her. They both think that you look outstanding." Clarice looked up at King with her eyes, and gave him a warm smile that I wish had been pointing towards me. "We ready to stop the chit-chat, ladies?" Gretchen groaned. Everyone turned their attention back to Gretchen. The first meeting since we lost Marcia began. Gretchen began recounting the results of our last mission, listing how many ounces of special little chemical they were able to collect from the brown spawn. She then went on to tell us that not only that area had been informed about who their heroes were, but it had also been sent back to Marsville's local news, bragging about their new heroes' newest victory. We were told that in the area of Marcia's disappearance from the team, they decided to declare her missing in action while saving someone. I was glad they left enough room for a return if she ever did. She also told us that really helped our popularity numbers. Orders of our single poster had tripled as people ordered them assuming they'd be the only bit of merchandise to feature the fallen hero Marzia. With the interest in merch sales, that also meant we were all getting some spending money for our rooms. That got me really excited until Miss Gretchen told us our share would only be $36 each. Still, there were things I could do with that. Heck, maybe in a week or two, if I saved, I could afford a new outfit. And finally we came to the topic of what today would be like. We're going to have some folk come from the lab building come down to see us. We all turned to one another, exchanging glances as Gretchen continued. They'll be performing some checkups on all y'all. Can't be too careful after the other day's fair and such. A checkup? And someone from the lab building as well? I can't help being suspicious of everyone and everything related to MGI, and their alleged incoming decision to abandon us. I mean, doesn't a health check sound like the exact sort of thing you'd want to do when you're thinking of breaking up a project? Checking your stock and deciding what you're going to throw away and what you're going to keep? What if I really am deemed not worthy enough to keep around? I mean, I'm freaking cute. Yeah, mute, and not the right gal for a toy tie-in, but it doesn't exclude me from every possible form of marketing. Well, that's about all. Anything else you got to say, girls? Gretchen looked around at us. No one spoke up, so she climbed up to her feet. Then that concludes today's meeting. Go ahead and return to your rooms. I'll go grab you all one by one once the medical personnel are ready for you. Gretchen, as usual, took off to smoke somewhere, leaving us to disperse on our own. Unlike usual, we actually all did take the same elevator up to the dorm floor. I found that nice. I sort of wanted to see if either of them wanted to do something together today, but I was just too scared to ask. Probably better if we all just stand by waiting for today's main event. I returned into my room to wait to be called on. I pull out the ordering tablet and lay on my bed as I scroll through things I could buy. There were some cute outfit choices, and all of them were so much outside my price range. I really couldn't afford anything, honestly. If I could just save up for a month or so, maybe then, but they might just get rid of me before then. I keep scrolling until I stumble on something that caught my eye. Some sign language flashcards for only $5. I did want to learn some sign language, although I'm not sure if flashcards are the easiest way to do so. Video, so I can watch the facial inflections, as well as the hand movements in motion, would probably help me way more. I wasn't going to buy them, but it did remind me that I really wanted to learn how to sign. I tried to see if the tablet would let me reach any video platform, but it seemed locked into the shopping program. I looked up sign language and found some VHS tapes I could buy, but I don't have a VCR or a TV. Maybe one of the others would let me use theirs? Heck, Marzia had both. Maybe I should just sneak into her room and use it whenever I want to watch something. I look at the listings. There are 9 volumes available. Each one of their own tapes costs $30. Really rough for someone with a lack of funds. I could buy a single tape, but then I'd be broke. Why must I have so little money? I kick my legs on the edge of my bed. Things just seem to never work themselves out for me. I feel a wave of disappointment flood me. I try to brush it aside, but something in my chest doesn't seem to want to let it go. I'm beginning to try to cheer myself up when a knock comes at my door. They're earlier than I expected. I open the door, and obviously it's Miss Gretchen, waiting on the other side. Come along, kid. She leads me off back into the elevator, taking me down to a floor I haven't visited yet. When we step off the elevator, I can see it resembles the boring, plain medical type of floor I saw at the lab building. We walk down a long hallway before turning a corner and coming to a door at the end of the hall. As we approach it, I wonder if this floor plan mirrors the floor deep below us, and if Declarna would be directly below us a few floors down. Miss Gretchen opens the door for me. Right in here. Just take a seat on the chair, and the examiner will be coming in just a minute. She motions me towards a stool on wheels, situated just off a little bit of the center of the room. I did as I was told, taking a seat on top of it, adjusting my skirt to not have it bunched up. The door closed as Miss Gretchen disappeared back down the hall. The room was fairly empty besides some cabinets around, and a desk and a chair. I look around the room while I wait, not really sure what else to do. I let my bag fall off my side onto the floor, then reached down to lean it against my chair. I was about to start thinking about digging into the cabinets when the door opened again and a man in a lab coat entered inside. Good afternoon, Sophie. He greets me as he took a seat in the other chair at the desk. His voice sounds familiar, but I just couldn't place it. He looked over some notes on a clipboard he had brought in with himself. Okay, let's get started. He nodded and turned to face me. Go ahead and strip for me. I was taken aback by his request. I gave him a questioning, expressive glance as I tried to make sure I'd heard him right. He seemed to notice my hesitation. Trying to relieve me, he said, Little hesitant in front of a stranger? I can understand that, but have no fear. He gave me a toothy grin. I've known you since you were a newborn. Well, newborn girl, that is. He straightened his posture. "My name is Dr. Trev. I was present at your birth. So see? Not strangers. You can strip in front of an old friend, can't you?" I could place that I knew his voice from when I had first awoken from my cocoon, but really I mostly remember him leaving and Dr. Mack taking over. I instinctively leaned back from him, my hands gripping onto my sides as they crossed in front of me, hugging my stomach. Dr. Trev leaned forward, reaching out and touching my cheek. "There's nothing to be afraid of. I'm a doctor. Plus, I've already seen you naked before. Nothing I haven't seen before." He actually chuckled to my discomfort. I don't think it's weird for doctors to see you naked, but I don't know. Something just fell off. Maybe if we work up to it. But right out the gate he wants me naked? I just feel like something isn't right. I don't like it. "Sophia," he called in a sing-song way. "Please cooperate. We don't want to have to tell our friend Gretchen that you weren't anything other than a good girl. Now, do we?" I don't want to get in trouble. If they really are trying to get rid of us, just abandon the whole project and leave us to become Spawn, then I really can't afford to not be seen as someone worth keeping around. I get up and begin to slide my jumper skirt straps from my shoulders. "That's very good, Sophia. Let's take it all off. No need to fold it nicely. You can put it right back on when we're finished." My skirt drops to the ground. I step out of it and begin messing with the buttons on my blouse as I stand there in just my underwear. Each button undone, I can feel my legs feel more shaky. Be brave, be brave, be brave, I murmur in my mind. I get to the final button and pop it loose, then reach for the hem of my blouse and pull my blouse off over my head, exposing my bra. "What a nice color," Dr. Trev comments. I don't look up at him. I stare downward at myself, trying to keep myself from even tearing up. I slide my underwear off and place them on top of my skirt next to my blouse. I didn't look up to see where Dr. Trev is looking. I don't want to know if he's looking directly at me. I reach behind me and fidget slightly with the bra straps, undoing it, and it folds off me as I lower it into the pile. I look up at him, now standing in the room completely naked. I feel so exposed. He grins with a chuckle. "How about those socks as well? I recall I said all of it." I nod, slipping off my flats and pulling my socks off my legs. My feet are now touching the cold marble floor of the room. It brings a chill across me. "Wonderful!" Dr. Trev smiles. "See? Not so bad. Nothing scary happened at all." He turns away and begins opening the cabinets, looking into them for something. I sit back down on the stool, moving my clothes onto my bag on the floor. "Ah, there it is," Dr. Trev announced, removing a black box from one of the higher cabinets. He then began messing with it on the desk, while I waited, feeling the coldness of the room. I really just want to put my clothes back on. He then removes a long rod from a cabinet and places it on his side. It splits into 3 parts, becoming a standing tripod. That black box then comes off his desk and screws onto it. Dr. Trev gets up from setting up whatever it is and comes over to me. "Okay, Sophia, we're gonna take some pictures, so I gotta repose you just a bit, okay?" He doesn't wait for me to nod before he's placing his hands on my arms, moving them. He places them onto my legs, one hand over the other. "Cross your legs for me, would you?" he asks. I do as told. "Wonderful! Now let's relax those shoulders," he says as he places his hands on my shoulders, pressing down on them. "And of course, we need a cute head tilt, ever so slightly." He moves my head, tilting it for me. "Perfect!" he claps. He moves back onto the black box, which he said was a camera. It doesn't look like a camera. Maybe it's just an old type. "Looking great. Hold that," he said as he leaned over behind the camera. After taking a few, he got back up. "Let's turn you." He grabs onto me and turns me as the stool swivels. "Great." He returns to the camera and took some more. This continued a few more times as he turned me and repositioned me. Each time he placed his hands on me, I wanted to ask him to just tell me what to do, but I held it together. Finally, he said, "Okay, we're all done here," and I sighed a sigh of relief. I stood up and was about to start putting my clothes back on when he stopped me. "Now hold on just one more minute." I stop and turn back to him. He rolls his chair over to me, looking up at me. "You did such a good job today, Sophia. I want you to know MGI and I are very proud of you." I went to lean over to grab my whiteboard to say thank you, but he caught my hand as I reached down. "No need. I think I understood you well enough. I know you want to say thanks and happy to help." I stood back up, giving him another nod. "That's great," he smirked. "But gosh, after such good work, you really should get a reward, don't you think?" I shook my head. waving my hands to say it was fine, and I was just doing my job and was ready to leave now. "Come now, let's not be modest when we aren't modest." He eyed my still naked body. That made me very uncomfortable. I really need to leave now. "I bet it was tough adjusting to this new life of yours. That was awful tough of you to handle. Has anybody told you how good of a job you're doing?" I shook my head no. "Well, Sophia, you're doing a wonderful job. You've become quite the beautiful young woman." He smiled. I felt so gross it was hard for me to smile back at him. "I think someone who did so well today and is doing such a good job at work must receive some sort of reward. So I'll just have to give you something. Close your eyes." Those last 3 words hit me like a train. My eyes widened in a way he clearly noticed. His smile became more toothy again. "It's okay. Just close your eyes." I backed away, then stopped myself. This all was some sort of sick test by MGI. It has to be. He won't do anything. I just have to endure it a little longer. I close my eyes. I can hear Dr. Trev get up from his chair. I listen as every step makes an audible sound as he walks past me and stops right behind me. Suddenly his fingers are on the sides of my mouth, and he pulls them downward, opening my mouth. I'm entering a shaky state where none of this feels real anymore. I feel him place something small into my tongue, pushing it inward and closing my mouth. He leans me back and made me swallow it. He then takes multiple quick steps back towards his chair. "All done. Eyes open, away." I open my eyes and he's still in his chair. I feel funny as he begins talking again. I can't really understand every word he says anymore. Something about being a special pill for special times. Whatever that means. And then he tells me something about his girlfriend, I think. He said girlfriend a lot. At some point I must have fallen asleep or passed out. One moment I'm in front of him, the next suddenly I'm back in my room, lying sideways across my bed. My head starts to feel a little funny. It takes me a few moments to collect myself enough to sit up and move my covers aside. I'm still naked. I spot my clothes nicely folded on the floor beside my bed. Groggy and confused, I get up and begin putting my clothes back on. After pulling my bra on, I notice I can't find my underwear. I turn all the clothing over, digging around, but they aren't there. What happened? End of chapter 20.